Welcome to Communing with Divine, a podcast where I share my spiritual quest and the lessons and the insights that I've received from many divine beings and energies during meditation. I am your host, Meraki. Now, let's begin. Welcome to the 25th episode of Communing with Divine. I'm just going to start straight in with this. March the 4th, 2023. I'm with the goddess Aletheia. She's pointing to a violet purple that is embroidered on her dress. She's commenting on the fact that I haven't thought about this new color, which is true, I haven't. So I'm trying to think about what the violet color could symbolize based on the things that I've been taught here on Earth. Higher vibrational energy, transmutation, nobility, royalty. Aletheia wants this to come from me and not from what other people have told me. She's trying to get me to tap into what lies within me and allow it to flow unimpeded by the influence of other people's ideas. I believe it represents a higher vibration. So I start again sort of where I left off, and I'm hoping that I'll initiate the flow by allowing my thoughts to wander. Initially, my thoughts are very similar to what I was having before. I say, well, it represents a vibration that's closer to the divine. It's beautiful. It's a soft color. I don't know if there's pink within purple that creates the violet hue, but it certainly feels as if there should be. I'm feeling an unconditional love aspect to it, a non-judgmental aspect of it, or non-condemning. I'm thinking about how Mother Universe once said to me, divine does not sit in judgment, divine sits in observation. And I feel like there's something of this statement reflected within the vibration of the violet color, but I can't really say more than that. Aletheia says, relax, and more will come. I take a deep breath and I relax all of my muscles, and now I wait. It's a color that reflects divine wisdom. It's a color that unlocks. It's a color that transforms, but it's also a destiny. It's a color that's both a verb and a noun. It's an action and it's a state of being. It's not the final state of being, but it's a higher state of being, and I feel that it is the first of the higher states. It's the very first level we must maintain and remain in and hold before we can go any further. But I don't know what the word for that is. Aletheia says that I've done well and that there is much truth in what I'm struggling to express. She wanted me to relax because the thinking brain, the brain that has been taught and restrained by the thoughts and beliefs of others, was getting in the way. This is not to say that this was wrong or that what I've been taught about what violet represents was wrong. It's just that I need to practice putting that which I've been taught aside and just allow what comes from within me to surface as often as I can. I need to apply this skill, and Aletheia was encouraging me to use the skill now. Aletheia says, you are aware enough to know this exists within you. You are aware enough to be alert to it and to state things as they are. You have made good progress. You must now release outside beliefs and only allow. For beliefs that are not of you inhibit our communications with you. It's true, and this is why she wants me to ponder this color. She wants me to see the color, to feel the color, to breathe the color in. How does it make me feel? Where does it take me? What comes to my mind as I do this? And just allow the flow. So I say, I feel at peace. I'm feeling very relaxed. My mind is quieting and slowing down. I feel meditative. I feel that gold is somehow paired with this color. They're separate, but there's an affiliation here between the two. I feel that this color is the meeting place, this color of violet. To bring in this color and to vibrate at this level creates a meeting place because of what it does to your vibration. It slows the mind and it relaxes the body. It's a place of opportunity for connection and communication. It's also a place of opportunity for learning. So I would say the violet color and the vibration it resonates with is the first level of attaining or achieving a pure connection with the divine. Alethea is smiling and she asks, "What is the name of your podcast?" It's called Communing with Divine. She says this color represents the vibration of communing with divine. I didn't see that one coming. Communing, of course. Thank you for this lesson. I'm with Mother Universe now. She wants to emphasize that this vibration, this color, this state of being, and this place of being is of great importance to me now, and that throughout the day I should try to ensure that I go to this place of being, this vibration. She says, even if only for a second. She's explaining that just as I check my dial every day and ensure that I'm connected and that everything is aligned, in the same way I should visit this vibration, if only momentarily. And the more I do this, the more I will naturally connect and remain within that vibration. I will hold it more naturally and continuously. This is really interesting, and I'm really excited to find out where this goes, what it means, and how it reveals itself. March the 6th, 2023. I'm doing my calling in. I've called in the mighty ones, and I'm speaking to the watcher, the wise one. I was just thanking everyone, and I was thanking him as well. As I've said before, I see him as an old, wise man with long white hair and the long white beard. The way that I process his energy, or the way he's presenting himself to me, is very comforting. I feel very at ease in his presence. He crouches down to my level so that we're face to face, and he asks me, "What do you see?" I can see myself. It's like his face is there and I can see him, but there's also a sort of diaphanous overlay of my own face as well, but I don't understand what it is. He says, "Ponder this." I'm sitting in Mother Universe's lap, and she's sitting on her throne in her usual spot in my theater of experience, my orb. She's asking me to look at the universe that is an energetic expression and representation of my reality as I create it. She asks me, "What do you see?" I see dots of light and so much darkness. Many, many dots of light in a sea of darkness, and it's all so beautiful. There are no empty spaces. The darkness is the ether. The darkness isn't just darkness, just as the light isn't just light. They both contain elements of each other at different ratios, and it's all so beautiful, and it's so peaceful, so balanced. That's what I see. I see the perfect balance of this universe, which is my theater of experience. As I sit looking out into this universe, there is no imbalance. There is no struggle. There is no conflict. All is as it should be. All is perfectly balanced. The light with the darkness with the light within the darkness, and the darkness within the light. All the energies are balanced. There is no disharmony. We create the disharmony we experience with our minds. But in truth, there is no struggle. There's no conflict here on this energetic plane. All is as it should be. There's no danger, there's no evil, and there's no threat. All is perfect as it is, and it is truly divine. I used to wonder how these mystical men and women could spend hours and even days in meditation. But having been to Grandfather Void in the very limited way that I can, and having sat within the ether also in the limited way that I can, and sitting here from Mother Universe's amazing perspective, I can understand why. Because it's bliss. It's enlightening to see and feel, to sit within this absolute balance of all that is, as it should be, the what is. And it makes me realize how deep our disconnection is. We need to bring this balance into the physical realm. That's part of our job, and it's our responsibility. This is something we can all do, that we should all be doing. Even if we just brought a little bit, a fraction of this balance into being, the effect on the physical plane would be phenomenal. Now, Mother Universe is asking me to look down to the earth that we share our realities as human beings. She asks again, what do you see? Well, I see love, kindness, bravery, self-sacrifice, laughter. I see fear, pain, disharmony, imbalance, wailing, struggle. I see an illusory struggle that appears real, a desire to control who will win. Mother Universe says, and to what end? What is the purpose of this struggle? Balance is needed. Balance is required, for there is no struggle in truth. The struggle is an illusion. It is not necessary, and yet it exists. It is not the way, and yet it is perpetuated. To what end? For what purpose? This is the great mystery. This is the great confusion of humans. The answer to this is what you must ponder. The answer to this is what every one of you must ponder. Know this struggle is an illusion created by yourselves that can be uncreated. The imbalance can become balance, and the physical world can more reflect that which is the what is. But you must allow. You must all allow. And allowing requires humility, humbleness. Ego stands in the way of this. Ego must be dissolved, or this cycle of struggle and suffering will continue. To what end? For what purpose? These are the questions you must ponder. The answer lies within the answer of the question. I don't know that I understand the last sentence. It's sort of a riddle as far as I can see. The answer lies within the answer of the question. But I guess it's part of what we can discover when we ponder all of this, which is what she wants me to do, and honestly, all of us do. March the 8th, 2023. I'm speaking to the Watcher, the Wise One now. I'm asking him some questions because I'm not sure if he's from within this reality universe or from outside of it. Because when I first became aware of him and I saw through his eyes, he was external to my universe, looking at it from a distance. But I don't know if he's external from the greater universe that all of our realities are in, or if he's from within that. The Watcher replies, I am both from within and from without. I am from within, for you reside here. This is the seat from which you create your reality within this existence, which is the only one that you are conscious of from the point of view of this manifestation. But there are many. I observe all my manifestations, and yet I myself have never manifested. Does this confuse you? Well, sort of. If I had to try to guess what you're saying, I would say that you are a being of energy, and that you send out parts of your energy elsewhere, where these energetic aspects of you experience different things. They're a part of you, but they're not your entirety. Is this correct? He seems happy. He says, you have done well. He's conveying to me that I have explained things well within the limitations of the capacity that I have to understand. He's saying that we will walk my path together again, but not today. Focus on your tasks at hand, he says, that which you must do. Focus on your tasks at hand, for they will bring you further down your path, and it is here that we shall meet. What he's talking about is meeting consciously on the path, because I'm already walking it all of the time, and he's always with me. But I'm not focusing my consciousness on walking the path because I'm doing things here. So what he's saying is that in the near future, he will prompt me and say, let's bring your consciousness to this and let's discuss what's going on and where you are and all that sort of stuff. So I just thought I should explain that. I should also say I didn't really get a direct answer to the question that I had about whether he's from this greater universe or not. But it strikes me that the answer that I got and what I was able to extrapolate from what he was saying is about as far as I'm going to get today. March the 10th, 2023. I'm speaking with my higher self, who says, You are doing well, child. Continue to walk forward on your path. My higher self is explaining that this is a pivotal time for me. Let not fear dissuade you. You are protected. No harm can come from you honoring your soul's purpose. My ether self is saying, heed the counsel of your higher self. It is time for that which came to you and through you to be passed on to others. It is the passing of communication that reinforces the bonds that already exist and that allows all of you to be aware of the connections that create the one. Communication is energy. And so communication is the act of the passing and sharing of energy. All is energy. What will you do with the energy that comes through me to you? What will others do with the energy that comes from you to them? Whatever is done or not done, these communications strengthen the bonds of consciousness, even for those who do not see that we are all one, those who are not consciously aware that we are all one. Even in disagreement, even with that which does not resonate with you, even in the face of complete rejection, the exchange of energy that is communication reinforces the bonds between human beings with one another and with the all, of which humans are not so actively aware. She's sort of laughing about us, but not in a mean way. Again, it's like she's amused the way you'd be amused by a young child. She's saying that our communication is very primitive and fraught with the potential for misunderstandings and miscommunications, even when we're just communicating the most basic ideas or expressions. She's asking me to think about when I communicate with divine, or rather, when the divine communicates with me. She's saying that oftentimes I will hear, see, and feel all at the same time. This is important because it means that there's less opportunity for me to misunderstand what's being communicated. And the more difficulty I have in understanding a purely verbal communication, the more visual and emotional cues I'll be given in order to help me understand more clearly. It's like they're holding my hand as they bring me to a better understanding and to an understanding that's closer to what they're trying to convey to me. And if I'm being honest, even with all that help, I am grossly limited. She didn't say that, but it is true. They're very kind, but I am limited, and I can see how patient they have to be sometimes, especially if it's a new concept or a concept that I may have resistance to, because it might be something that I don't fully agree with, or I may have some resistance to letting go of my old ideas. So I will put up this resistance, and they sort of have to help me to recognize it so that I can dissolve it. And one of the best ways they can do this is by using the triple threat of verbal, visual, and feelings or sensations. Even smells sometimes, actually. That's very true. Even smells. I'm speaking with Mary Magdalene, and I say I see that the child is more of a teenager now. That gives me hope that I'm still moving forward. Mary says, "You are always moving forward, even as you perceive yourself to be at rest. Much happens when one sleeps. Be not afraid to rest. See it not as a lack of motion. See it not as a lack of progress. See it not as a lack of growth. Much happens when one sleeps. Much happens when one rests. There are times for sleeping and resting, and there are times for active growth. I am being shown myself walking forward." Mary says, "The balance of these two things is of great importance. One cannot have one without the other. Remember that, child. Remember it well, and know that it is wisdom that allows one to recognize which of these is required." I'm with the watcher, the wise one. He feels very present to me, very forward today. He says that we'll be doing work together today. He says that I've already started with the things I was working on before my meditation, and he is well pleased. So we will walk together. I am on my path. It's beautiful and sunny. The wise one is to my left. I'm not wearing any shoes. I have my sandals in my hand. I'm just wearing a robe now, and my hair is down. I was holding my shoes in my left hand, but I'm going to transfer them now to my right and hold on to the hand of the wise one. I don't need to hold onto his hand to walk, but it feels nice. As I said, it's sunny, and it's also the perfect temperature. I have a sense of things being here, but I don't see them, and I don't know why. The wise one says, they are of no import at this moment. Your focus is the path and the path only. Observe your feet as you walk. So I'm looking down at my feet and also up at the path. Down at my feet and then up at the path. My path cuts through a desert-like place, but it's not hot or miserable, and it doesn't have the sense of being desolate or barren in any way. My path is only a slightly different color than the yellowish-white sand around it, and it's a solid path. I couldn't tell you what it's made of, but it's very pleasant to walk on. I'm remaining aware of it. All I see is my feet, my path, the sand, the horizon, and the wise one. He's emphasizing that my focus be on the path and the horizon. I'm to look at the horizon and then also down at the path and my feet as I walk. He says observing these things will help me to know my direction and to see even the subtlest of changes. And these subtle changes will help me to understand my own growth and when I'm struggling to fulfill that which I must fulfill. He says, do you understand, child? Ignore nothing. The smallest of things can portend the greatest of changes. You will not need a wall to show you that your way is blocked. I think that what he's saying is that at this point in my development, in my journey, I shouldn't require the symbolism of a massive wall in front of me to make me realize that there's work I need to do, or that I'm allowing something to block my path. I think he's saying that if I pay proper attention to my path, I will notice the importance of the smallest things that I would otherwise overlook. Like over there, there's a little rock, or rather a pebble on my path. There are no other pebbles on my path. It's tiny, so I'm picking it up. It's actually made up of a cluster of the sand that my path cuts through. I'm showing it to the watcher, and he's nodding. He's explaining that a wall of resistance or of fear, a wall that might block my path, is made up of many, many little pebbles, which later become stones. And the pebbles are made up from many, many little bits of sand that come together. These pebbles are made. I make them. He's showing me that whether or not I realize this, the walls that block my path are self-created from little fears, from little misbeliefs that I keep with me and that I grow over time. That while I may believe that I'm walking past these little things, these little stones made of sand that are really fear and misbeliefs, go with me. And they get bigger and bigger and they multiply. And the fears and misbeliefs that I carry can cause me to create or to adopt other fears and misbeliefs until I have created a wall. He's showing me a vision of myself standing in front of a wall. I'm sad that I can't pass. I'm frustrated, but afraid to step through the wall. I'm afraid to deconstruct the wall because my consciousness has identified with this wall. My consciousness has identified with it. I see now these walls can become part of our identities. This is where the resistance to deconstructing them comes from. Without this wall, who am I? What if I actually have to achieve my purpose? What if my excuses are taken from me? What would happen then? Who would I be? What if I step into my true vibration and no one notices? No one cares? What if I try but fail? Failure is a frightening thing, but success can be as well. Honoring your true vibration can be a frightening thing. Having excuses, building walls to prevent either success or failure, or both, can be comforting, even though we find them painful and frustrating. The wise one says, be aware, be aware. Stop and pick up everything that you encounter. Observe what you discover. Note everything that is different from the clear path that you are walking. When you come upon something, ask yourself, does this honor my vibration? Does it enhance my journey? If not, transmute it. Let it not go unaddressed. This is your lesson for today. March the 10th, 2023. This is an explanation of the previous session of walking my path with a watcher and the other experiences on my path, which I think is required. When I was on the first part of my path, before I stepped through the diaphanous curtain, there were a lot of things around me. There were trees and bushes and forests and creatures and all kinds of stuff. It wasn't just a path through nothing. However, when I took off my clothes, left everything behind, and stepped through the diaphanous barrier, the surroundings that my path was cutting through was an empty desert. All I could see was sand and a horizon. That's it. No matter where I looked, all I saw was the horizon and sand and my path cutting through the sand. And yet, I don't feel that it's desolate. I don't feel that it's empty. I feel as if it's just all that I'm seeing at this moment, if that makes any sense, and that I will see the things that are there in time when I'm ready. And then I received this very important lesson about picking up what I thought was a small, insignificant pebble and realizing that it was actually sand that was stuck together. And the watcher, the wise one, explained to me that the walls that block my path are built from these grains of sand. The grains represent fear in many forms, and they are the building blocks that come together to form pebbles and stones, and then walls, because I allow them. With these sands of fear, I myself build the walls that block my path. And this was all very interesting, but what I didn't quite understand at the time, but now I do, is that these little compacted balls of sand represent a fear, and that in fact every grain of sand represents fear. Different fears, different manifestations and forms of fear. But what I didn't understand at the time is that this desert isn't just the sum of all of my fears. It's the sum of all of humanity's fears. And this desert of fear is so vast. It's filled with the sands of fear that represents the fact that we don't merely walk through life surrounded by our own fears. We walk through life surrounded by the fear energy of every person who has ever existed. We all affect each other, so our fears affect other people directly and indirectly. And we put the energy of our fear out into the world, and that energy remains. So my path is set up to allow me to walk through and past all of these fears without being touched or affected by them unless I choose to allow it. But if I choose to kick up some of these fears, as is represented by the sand, and if I let them blow onto my path or bring them onto my path, or if I ignore the grains of sand as they start creating little balls that will eventually become a wall, that is my choice, and the choice is 100% mine. So as I was walking, there was a little ball of sand, and I thought it was a pebble, so I picked it up and I looked at it, and I thought, well, what are you? And as I looked at this pebble of sand, this little cluster, I realized that this was the fear that once I start this podcast, if I do not remain true, if I allow my ego to engage in any way, I'm afraid that I will lose the purity of my connection with divine, or that the communication will stop. Now, do I really believe that I can be disconnected from divine? No, of course not. But the fear is there, and fears aren't rational. Ironically, it's actually my ego that's causing this fear, because there's a part of my ego that wouldn't want to have to stop the podcast because nothing was coming to me. Isn't that ironic? I think it's hilarious. It's both ironic and hilarious. My ego, which is the thing that would most likely cause me not to receive pure communications or not to continue to be able to connect clearly with divine, is the exact thing that's causing the fear about this. So there you go. There you go. Once I realized this, I looked at my fear and my ego as they had expressed themselves in this instance, and I released them both. And this little bit of sand that I was holding in the palm of my hand fell apart and blew away back into the vast desert of fear. Very interesting, very powerful. I want to thank you all again for being with me today. I hope you'll join me for episode 26. Have a great day.